You guys, Prague is hot. Whether you're inside or outside, it feels like there's nowhere to hide from the heat. Now, the Czechs don't deal with city heat very well either. That's why on summer weekends, they just get the heck out of town. So when I first moved here and started teaching, my adult students would tell me how they were escaping to their cottages for the weekend, their summer homes. And I was thinking, swanky. In America, if you have a summer home, you're part of the top 1% of people. To be fair, the Czech version of a second home or a cottage is a little bit more modest. It's usually a piece of land and a small building that's been in the family for a few generations, and they take a lot of pride in slowly improving it over several years, you know, adding indoor plumbing one year, and maybe heating the next, or like redoing some structural damage or something like that. And it's where they escape to, especially on hot summer weekends like we're having right now. I actually heard that escaping to the chata was really popular during communism because it was like the one place they could escape sort of people up in their business. It was like their own little private slice of heaven. So when you ask a Czech here in Prague, how are you escaping the summer heat this weekend? And they're like, I'm going to the cottage. Now, of course, not all Czechs have chatas, and not all of us are fortunate enough to have a place to go to when it gets really hot in the city. So there are plenty of Czechs having a grand old time in Prague on the summer weekend. So in this video, I'm going to get into how exactly we spend our time. The Czechs are very sporty people, but kind of weird sports. Sure, they have hockey and football, but that's more for watching. But the normal Czechs have some kind of funky sports that they get up to on the weekends. Kind of sports that we would do, you know, only on a summer barbecue or maybe like when we were in summer camp. One of those sports is badminton. On the weekends, you can often see people walking with their rackets on the way to or from brunch, and they don't play it outside as much as they play it in sort of like sports centers. So we started to play badminton with two of our Czech friends, Tomáš and Eliška, and we would go down to Nusle and play in sort of like a sports centrum there, and you can rent rackets, and it costs a few bucks to rent a court for an hour. Then we started getting our American friends into it, and now we have a running date every weekend where first thing we do on a Sunday morning is meet for badminton. And Hansa even started playing with a more serious group of like 80 people, and they get together and swap partners, and he's getting really good. I'm more of a solo sport player. I don't like to do anything that requires me to make contact with a ball or a birdie. I'm actually quite uncoordinated in that way, but badminton is an actually lovely way to spend a Sunday morning. Now, just because you're smack in the middle of a city doesn't mean you shouldn't get a suntan. And the Czechs in Prague take every opportunity to bare their skin, no matter who's around. In fact, it's fairly common to see nude Czechs suntanning their bits in a public park or on the banks of the Vltava River. I made a video all about the Czech versus American attitudes towards nudity. I will link it up here. All I can say is that I am definitely on the prudish side of that spectrum. I don't even like to be nude in my own home. But when in Rome, or as the Czechs say, jiný kraj, jiný mráz. And while I have your attention, I'd like to talk to you about something that is very close to my heart, and that's digital privacy. The Czechs might like to bare all when it comes to nudity, but they're no fools. They prefer to keep their digital bits private, and so should you. That's why I use NordVPN, who is kindly sponsoring this video. NordVPN is like a blurry field over your data that protects your private information from creepsters like Radek. Nothing to see here, Radek.
Let's say you're in an airport or a train station or a mall and you log on to public Wi-Fi. You don't know if that network is secure. That free Wi-Fi might very well be Radek trying to get into your sunbathing photos and passwords. NordVPN encrypts that data so that he can't. Since I can use my one NordVPN account on up to 6 devices, mine is always switched on, even on mobile, giving me the privacy I need. Go to the link in the description box below to get a 2-year plan with a huge discount plus 4 months extra. And if you decide that internet security is not a priority for you, don't worry. It's risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to get back to my sunbathing.
Foreigners from the West kind of joke that everything in Czechia is like 20 years behind, which is not really true. But in the case of rollerblading, it is. I used to love rollerblading when I was a kid. And I don't know how it fell out of fashion in the United States because it's a totally fun sport. I think it's a great way to spend a Saturday afternoon. And the Czechs agree with me. You can't visit a Czech home in the summertime without being offered several jars of pickles. Now, Czech pickles are something special. They are something between a very sour dill pickle and like a super sugary sweet sandwich pickle, something right in the middle. And every Czech babička has a different recipe and must just absolutely fill her grandkids' cupboards all year because we are always the recipient of several jars of pickles. Now, the best pickled anything I've ever had came out of my kitchen a few weeks ago. Hansa found this recipe online for Czech mustard pickled zucchini, and it is fantastic. I will leave the link to the recipe in the description box below. One thing that the city definitely has over the countryside on a hot summer night is entertainment. And Prague does not disappoint. There are several summer movie theaters showing old Czech films and international films, and it's super cheap and a delightful way to spend a summer evening in the city.
And if you know where to look, there are exceptional cultural events that anyone in Prague can attend, like the concert and outdoor film we attended last week at the Czech Ministry of Foreign Affairs in collaboration with the American Center. There was a Czech, American, Iranian jazz band, and an American film about a Czech boy. It was a great experience. The American Center puts on all sorts of cultural events free of charge for the public. You just had to register on their website to attend. And so if you're in Prague, be sure to check that out.
And of course, this wouldn't be Czechia or Prague without a serious beer garden culture. There are several beer gardens around the city. Each one offers some shade, a little respite from the sun, and delicious beer. Now, the point of a Czech beer garden is not to get drunk, and it's not seen as a place where only drinking age adults hang out. In America, they're quite strict about who they let into areas where alcohol is served. So if you're a teenager, you can't even enter. Prague beer gardens are a lot more family friendly. You see people of all ages, and you see tons of kids. It's perfectly normal to bring your beloved family members to the beer garden, no matter what species they might be. So while spending a summer weekend in the city might not be the true Czech experience, the Czechs in Prague tend to make the best of things, as they do with most everything else. Cheers to that. Uvidíme se příště. Ahoj.